Right. We will now call the Legislation Committee hearing together to order for November 22nd, 2012. Sharita, please call the roll. 2012, 2021. I'm getting dyslexic during all this.
Alderman Boyd. Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Coder.
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Muhammad.
Here.
Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Martin.
Present.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Chairman Balmer.
Present.
President Reed.
Here.
10 present, you have quorum.
Thank you, Sharita, very much. And members of the committee and everyone else, we are trying to attempt to get this thing done properly and legally. Apparently the software has been cooperating. Is that correct, Mr. President? We're having a little.
No, the software is cooperating.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, everything's going fine. To create the amendment, once you export the report, you just have to go through and verify every boundary.
Okay.
So we're in the process of just verifying every boundary.
Okay.
So that's it. But it's going fine. Everything's going well. It's been
All right.
a really busy morning, busy night last night.
Yeah, I understand that.
all the calls we've had from all over the place, right? So we just want to make sure it's all everything is.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, getting all the legal language done is what we're doing. And originally, I thought I called this meeting for 2, but it made it 1. That's fine. But I think to get the legalese correct, we're going to suspend this meeting. I believe 3 or 3:30. 3:30 would probably give you enough time to.
The more time, the better, because once we finish the amendment, we'll get, we need to make sure that the clerk has had time to read through it and
Okay.
all
right.
finalize everything.
Let's suspend till 3:30 this afternoon, and we'll rejoin up STL TV and staff. Everyone, I thank you very much, and sorry for the delay, but this is quite important. We need to get it right. So thank you all, and we will suspend the meeting. Is there a legal term I'm missing for this, Mr. President?
Oh, would you like to make it 4 o'clock just to round it off?
We can make it 4 o'clock to round it off.
If everybody's good with that.
Well, I guess they're going to have to be. So I apologize for that.
I'll go grab a bag of chips before we.
All right.
So
we will suspend the meeting till 4 p.m. today.
All right.
So thank you all very much. We'll get this right. Thank you. So.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Welcome back to the same bat time, same bat channel, the legislation show. I believe we just took roll to start the meeting, then we suspended it. We need to approve meeting minutes before we proceed. Sharita?
I think we have minutes to approve. Give me just a second.
Okay, thank you, dear.
Yes, we do. It's the 13th, the 15th, and the 16th, I believe.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of those dates.
Entertain a second.
Second.
All right, Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Coder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Muhammad.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Navarro.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Chairman Balmer.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
10 aye votes.
Thank you. With your vote, we approve the minutes of November 11th, 13th, and 15th, and I believe that's it, the 16th. With that, we will proceed to the object at hand. Mr. President, you and Thomas have everything prepared. Would you like to
Yeah.
take over, sir?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment should be in the drive. And essentially what the amendment is, it's the attachment for the board bill that outlines the new ward boundaries. But before we get there, I am going to, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to share my screen just to do a quick review.
Certainly.
Yeah. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, let me. This represents the final map that should be represented in the language of the bill. And I want to just kind of walk through some things today, give you a general idea about things like compactness and things of that nature, and where we stand with the final map. So if I take parks off neighborhood boundaries, you get a little bit better sense of the shapes, right? And when we output this and have it up on the web, it'll be, it'll be a little more eye appealing. But for the purposes here, we're just showing you the raw data, and so that you can see everything that goes into it. This is neighborhood boundaries included, and basically it has remained pretty much the same since the last version. There have been a few changes up in this area just to clean up some compactness and to tighten up the numbers, the variances between these areas down through here. Under the last version, we were able to fix the request from a neighborhood organization for this Kings Oaks. So now that's been taken care of. Since the beginning of this, we had some goals in mind. First and foremost, to create a map that was lawful, that met the federal guidelines and state guidelines for redistricting, while at the same time working to keep neighborhood boundaries as whole and intact as possible. And if you look across this map, that's kind of what you see. You see most of these neighborhood boundaries have remained intact across our map from one side of the city to the other side of the city. Where neighborhood boundaries have been cut, it's because of out of absolute necessity. And virtually everything in here, every one of these boundaries have been looked at several times. Several is a massive understatement to get to where we are right now. But a couple things I want to cover so I can make sure that the committee and everybody, we're all on the same page. So there are various different measures of compactness, right? And it's important to look at compactness because compactness is used as a basis to see if gerrymandering has taken place, right? It's like a symptom, right? To say, okay, has gerrymandering taken place within this redistricting map and redistricting process? When you look across the history of redistricting and things of that nature, there hasn't been one measure of compactness that people say, okay, if you are at a 0.32 on a Polesby Popper compactness scale, then that's a good score, right? And the reason why is because ultimately the compactness is greatly determined by the shape of the underlining district that you're building in and the shapes within those districts and the boundaries that you're working to preserve within the map that you're drawing. And also how the population is dispersed throughout that map, which is why it's a good exercise. I'm gonna just show one thing real quick so everybody kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So if we take this base map, and this is just a base map of the city without any districts or anything in it. I believe the system comes back here in a second. Network slowing down, but it'll pop up here in a second. Well, while that's coming up, what I want to do is show you what the compactness scores for the city with no districts in it. So, what is the ultimate level of compactness we start out at, in the city of St. Louis? So, this city of St. Louis has a bit of an odd shape with what the chairman calls the esophagus up here. So I imagine that is the stomach area and part of the body here. But because of the shape of the city of St. Louis and the population in it and so on and so forth, our compactness score, and I'll run the report so you can see. And the three top measures of compactness are these three here that cities use. And convex hull. All right, so when you look at the city of St. Louis, so you look at, and these are on a scale of 0 to 1, where 0 is not compact at all, and 1 being the most compact shape, right? So when you start out with city of St. Louis, REAC, you have 0.28, Polesby Popper 0.49, and area convex hull is 0.83. So this area convex hull ends up being a very good measurement for us as a whole when we're looking at the compactness of our districts, right? And now I'm going to go back and run the report on the districts so you can get an idea of the compactness of the districts across the map. And all of these reports, we'll send to you if you'd like to have a copy of them. There we go. Don't know how to data. All right, so this is the map that we're looking at today. So if we run a report on this, All right. So this is the report that shows our compactness of this current map, right? And if you look down the line, nearly all of them are right in that same measurement of the city of St. Louis, that base chart, except for like B. When you look at B is the ward that goes up along that riverfront, right? That includes that this odd shape area here with very little population in it. But it is a part of the city. So any area, any ward that you put it in, it will dramatically affect the compactness of that ward because you're taking in this long area with virtually no population in it. But then you still have to go and pick up population to make a legal district. So essentially, you know, when we look at my dog, hold on one second. Marley, keep it down. So, the mailman must be coming. So when you look at it, this is essentially the only ward that really drops outside of the boundaries of what we would want to see in terms of our overall compactness number. The second one that's marginal is G because of the length of the riverfront with very little population in it. So there's like literally been hundreds of different theories of the best option and the best way to measure compactness. Yale published a paper that I think is a really good paper that talks about taking a base shape of compactness, whatever your most compact shape within a district is, and measuring all other districts or wards, in our case, against that best case district within within your map that is your most compact possible shape, right? We begin in the mid fours, point fours with the city as a whole. But the two most compact shapes within our map will be E and F. So what they say in that paper from Yale, they say that you take that base shape and then you take half of that, and you would want all the other wards or districts within your map to be at least 50% of that, to be able to say that, yes, this is good, barring any naturally forming shapes along rivers, and in this case, for us, all along the Mississippi River in those areas, that would cause a dramatic drop in compactness because of that naturally forming structure that is part of the overall area or district that you're drawing within. So when you look at our measurements, we are right in alignment with that notion. So when we come here and look at ours, so you come down, and like I said, it'll be this F. You see these two are our most compact shape. So we can say between 26 and 25 is where we want to be, right? And all of them, we're all within that except for G and B. And the courts have allowed for those types of things when you have those naturally formations with no population in, like along the rivers and stuff like that. And in case of B, you have that long area outside that there's absolutely nothing you can do about it as part of the city. They should have considered that when they annexed themselves from the county 100 years ago. But I wanted you all to kind of have an opportunity to see compactness and know what role it plays in what we're doing. And let's see what that kind of covers I think the rest of it we've covered ad nauseum in other meetings. The fact that we have to adhere to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, with an important underscore that when we're drawing maps that to adhere to the Voting Rights Act, you don't set out to specifically absolutely do nothing but try to capture, minority preference wards. What you do is you set out to draw a map that is legally compliant, and along the way, when there are clusters of minority populations that can be put together logically and legally to create a minority preference ward, it should be done. So opposed to breaking it up and limiting that minority's population's ability to elect a person of their choice. And when you look at our map, that's exactly what has been done. So you come down here, we take a look at polarity, which lays out the, turn the census blocks back on. So when you look at the polarity of our map, and remember I talked about, the color codes, the darker they get, the higher the concentration of that racial group within that area, right? So white to gray being non-Hispanic whites, blues being Hispanic, purple being American Indian, orange being Hawaiian, then from dark pink to light pink being African American, and dark green to light green being Asian. So when you look at our map, I'm going to take off these streets so you can get a better see. So you see the clusters of population and how down in these areas, you go from largely African American population to very dense white population, and then in here you pick up some Hispanic population. Zoom in a little bit. So you see that transition across the city of St. Louis, and working to keep communities of interest together and adhering to the Voting Rights Act of 1965, drawing wards that will be compact and also continuous. When we draw these, you end up picking up these neighborhoods, the entire Botanical Heights neighborhood, the entire Tiffany neighborhood, entire Gate District East, Fox Park, Tower Grove East, Benton Park West, and all but a little sliver of Gravois Park. And when you do that, you end up with a minority preference ward. Within that ward, you have, in terms of high concentrations of Hispanics, this is one of the higher concentrations of Hispanic population in a consolidated area across the city, right in here. And the same thing down in this Dutchtown area. You see the same occurrence down here. And I want to show you one other thing, just so we can answer a question that I've gotten numerous times. So when you're drawing these maps, you see in each one of these blocks are census blocks, and it's part of the US Census. We don't control the numbers within that block. We don't control the population within that block. We don't, determine if we want to take people out of this. It doesn't work that way, right? Whatever has been recorded by the US Census that's in that block, when you include it in a district, it counts all of those folks that are included in these blocks that they've counted. We don't control anything that's in that block, but if we want to know what's in that block, if you're drawing a map and you say, okay, I want to know what this is made up of, you come over here and you can select that block, and that gives you an opportunity to see, okay, what does that population look like, and what's the neighborhood boundary, and so on and so forth, right? It gives you an opportunity to look within that census block. And this is the population within that census block. So, but again, it's not something that anyone controls, that, you know, in any of these cities that is drawing this thing, unless they get some you know, IT person to break all of this up, and that would, for what reason, I would not know. But just so when people ask questions, that's what count. That's how those numbers are counted. And then, depending on the borders of the district that you've created, the system tallies up all of this, whether they're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. You see in these green boxes, Asian, Hawaiian, whatever. It tallies all that up, and it puts it, it assigns it to that district, right? So in this case, District H. So that's not something that has any, that we have any control over or any intervention in. What else? But that gives you kind of a general overview. Like I said, I dive deeper into some of the other things, but I think we covered it ad nauseum, and I know this has been a long stretch for people. And you know, I certainly appreciate all the work that has gone into it. And I think there's one more thing I would like to cover with you before we get there, just to kind of, for folks who may be watching that are just tuning in for the first time, to see what we've been doing. Let me grab this. All right, everybody see this?
So reading list is what it says. Is that correct?
What'd you say?
All I see is this, this is a reading list. Is it?
Reading list.
Yeah, this is, I have it on my screen.
Let me stop that.
All right.
I don't know what reading list was. Let's try this one more time. Can you see that?
Measures of compactness, certainly.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So these two I just want to cover with you so you can kind of get an idea of the difference, and part of what we look at when looking at measures of compactness. So these two measures are two of the three that I showed you that we ran the reports on. And when you think about, like, Riak, what that is, you know, you take a circle, right? And you say, okay, how big of a circle would it take, a perfect circle would it take to encompass the entire mass of land that's part of that district? And of that, what is the balance of essentially vacant area and things within that circle? So and that is what tells you how far the shape has degraded from 1 across the spectrum, from 1 to 0. Convex hull allows flexibility in those lines, so that then it can collapse closer into the boundaries of what that district is. So it'll take in it'll take in a little more odd shape, but it is another good measurement that we can use. So that kind of covers that. We talked about the public engagement. We've had more than 400 comments. We've sent it out on Nextdoor nearly 10 times, 86,000 impressions each time. That's nearly 1 million impressions that we've had from Nextdoor. It's been covered off, many, many news stations, all the major television stations, the major newspapers, blogs and stuff across the city, and has it posted. They've had these things all posted on their websites. The St. Louis City population, 301,578. This is what we started with. Medium household income, 47,176. And it just gives you some of the other information here. And then African Americans, 129,814, whites, 132,292, Hispanics, 15,405, and Asians, 12,289. I think this is important because people have asked me numerous times, why couldn't we have a ward that was a Hispanic ward? First, there isn't enough population within the city of St. Louis because our average ward size needs to be a little over 21,500. And there are only 15,405 Hispanic or Latino Americans in the city of St. Louis. And as you saw from the polarity map, spread out all throughout the city of St. Louis, and only 12,289 Asians that spread out all throughout the city of St. Louis. Our population range in our districts are from roughly 20,571 up to 22,692. This gives you an overview of our deviation between the wards. It gives you an overview of the percentage white, African American, and non-Hispanic, right? For some of the folks that early on asked the question, are you counting everyone? It's easy for them to figure out, just count the total population of every one of these wards, and it should add up to be right about 301,578, which accounts for every man, woman, and child in the city of St. Louis. This is the measure of compactness. These are the three measurements that are most used by cities and states across the country. And, we walk through how we measure up to that. This is, because remember, one of the things we have to make sure is that our districts are compact and continuous, so that we can't have one ward split up into multiple different areas. We can't have part of A on one side of the city, another part of A on the other side of the city. This is a report that runs that shows that all of these districts only have one main land mass. So that assures that we are in compliance with that standard. And that's pretty much it. And the rest of the stuff we've talked about, like I said, ad nauseum, the one person, one vote standard, so that voters aren't disenfranchised by being in districts that are lopsided beyond the 10% margin, which is generally accepted across the country, except in for congressional seats and a lot of state house seats across the country. But on a municipal level, 10% deviation is generally what they look at. So us being within that 10% or under that 10% deviation, we are where we need to be. And if we were turning in a map right now where we were sitting at 20 or 25% deviation, then we should be expected to find ourselves in court because we would be outside that deviation. So we've met the measures of compactness. We've met the measures of having a continuous contiguous districts. We've met the measures of the 1965 Voting Rights Act by not disenfranchising communities by intentionally drawing maps that would limit their ability and their power to elect a person of their choice. We have roughly, barring the Hispanic, Asian, and Hawaiian population, the two largest populations in the city are African American and white. And when you look across the map, we have 7 minority preference wards. And of those minority preference wards, 2 of those minority preference wards pick up a great deal of the Hispanic and Asian populations within those 2 wards. So when you look at all of those factors, I'm happy where we are. I think that a lot of work has gone into it. We have included the community, over 400 responses from the community. They're probably closer to 500 when we think about all the text, emails, and all of us received individually. Almost guaranteed there's another 100 sitting out there just in engagements that the community has made amongst all the 28 aldermen plus myself across this time. So I just want to thank the chairman and each and every one of you and all the members of the Board of Aldermen and also all the members of the public who have weighed in on this thing to get us to a point where we have this map in front of us today. So with that, I turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman, and I think what you need to do now is to open up.
Well, we have the amendment before us. And I think Sharita should relax. I don't think I'm going to make her read the amendment.
Yeah, it's kind of lengthy. So, thank you very much for the presentation. It has covered everything we've been going over and over and over, but it's always good to keep it out there. You and I have, and Tom and Mary have been living and breathing this thing, and most of the members of the committee. So we need to, again, we set out to save neighborhoods. We have over 80% of the neighborhoods saved in whole. The remaining 19 or so percent are only split as necessary and have representation by no more than 2 aldermen. So we've achieved something that has never been done. This has been the most maps ever shown to the citizens of the city of St. Louis during any redistricting process ever. The only map ever shown has always been the final one. And again, we've done everything within the legal parameters to try and achieve the wishes and desires of the people who have chimed in. There were some neighborhoods where we were able to help greatly. There was some we can only help a little, but we can't help where people live and the race of people where they live and trying to create a legal map. So that has been our challenge. And I think we've, done a job of doing that, trying to make sure that we're representing everyone, one person, one vote. So I don't know if any members of the committee want to chime in. Raise your hand if you do. If not, I will entertain a motion for the amendment. Would that be something we could you're sponsoring? I'm Mr. President, as far as who's. Yeah, I will, or you can, or any member can. And it's just putting forward that amendment to add the attachment to the.
Yeah, I don't see any hands up. So if
I'll make a motion that we do the amendment to the board bill.
Second.
Okay, Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd,
Is it too late for a point of order? I'm not sure what the motion is to.
Our original board bill, as you know, had no dimensions or anything to it. So the course of this, all our hearings and meetings has to create the boundaries. So we now have to amend the original board bill with the boundaries.
Right. What was the motion?
The motion is
to amend it. I'm sorry.
The motion is to, the amendment before us is to adopt the amendment that gives the boundaries to the new map of the city of St. Louis.
Okay. All right. Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can.
Aye.
Thank you. Chairman Ballmer,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
She's
I see her.
muted. But she's
Hey, I'm sorry.
thank you. Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Middlebrook, 11 aye votes.
With your vote, we have adopted the amendment to Board Bill 101. Without any further ado, if there's no further comment, I will entertain a motion that we pass out Board Bill 101 as amended with a due pass recommendation.
so moved.
Entertain a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Second.
Yes, sir.
so the amendment is in the Google Drive, right?
Second. Anybody second
Yes,
that?
yes. The amendment was the descriptions. I believe the clerk has also sent out as a separate email and in the drive.
Okay, I'm gonna pass.
Well, okay, we haven't, okay,
We never
Okay.
got a second anyway.
Second.
okay. Alderman from the 21st seconds the motion by the Alderman from the 23rd. With that, Sharita, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd,
Point of order, no discussion?
Well, I believe before I asked for the motion, I said I'll entertain any comments from any members of the committee.
But why, I said
didn't-
aye to the amendment, but I've had my hand up since before you asked for a motion.
Okay, we can go back. I believe we have to, Alderman from the 21st, please ask to remove your second.
No, I'm kidding. I rescind my second.
Okay, and Alderman from the
And
23rd.
I guess I'll rescind my motion.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for not seeing the hand up. I was, Mr. Boyd was busy asking me questions, so he just chimed in. We will take, I see Alderman Martin and Alderman Navarro up. I don't know who came first. You girls can flip a coin, or I don't know who to take first without.
I think
It's
Martin.
fine. I think Alderwoman Navarro was first, so you're good.
Okay, well, Alderman Navarro, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I understood you were having a motion to get it in front of us, but I assumed there would be some discussion, which.
Yeah, and I apologize if I didn't see your hand up. I thought I had said if any members of the committee have any comments or things, please proceed. Please
So,
proceed.
so the question I have is, have we had an attorney look at this? I know we've had a lot of discussion about compactness, and to my knowledge, that no map has been shut
Taken
down
because of-
purely for not being compact. So there's a lot
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
that goes into this. So I am
No,
curious,
no,
have we had
there-
the city
yeah, there-
councilors or somebody weigh in with a legal
We-
opinion on this
yeah.
map before we vote on it
we have-
today?
over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
weekend, we
yeah.
did-
So,
The
Mr.
president will handle that. Yeah, we have been in
Yeah.
contact with the city council's office.
So, yes, and as I said in my presentation, that compactness is not something that the map gets thrown out for. It is a symptom of something deeper, which is why it's important that all of us understand what our compactness scores are and why they are where they are. We've given all of the information to the city councilor now that we have a final map. When we got close to the final map over the weekend, we got everything over to the city council. The city council is reviewing it. The city councilor will have a legal opinion back to us prior to us passing it out of the board in case we have to make any minor adjustments. But having been through, these redistricting, many times and helped on other ones outside of the things that we're doing here. Those two federal guidelines, we're right there with the two federal guidelines we've been able to meet. You look at some of the other things within our map in terms of being able to keep communities of interest together and so on and so forth. It's a good solid map, so I don't really anticipate any problems. But if indeed the city council comes back and says, oh, it would be good if you change this or change that, we will be able to do that during the perfection phase of the bill.
Okay, thank you. I would appreciate a legal analysis from an attorney before moving forward with this. So I understand if you're going to move forward today, I will likely abstain. I am an attorney and I understand we've looked at it and all of that, but there is a specific legal analysis that should be done at this stage of the game. So thank you. And I'm also curious if all of the comments that have come in since map 5 was released have been reviewed. I know that there have been neighborhood meetings since then, and I don't know that all of those folks, I'm curious what's happened with all of those comments that have come in since map 5 was released.
Well, we review them regularly all the time just to see if there's anything in there. I know the ones down around your area where they wanted to shift a park from the ward where Alderwoman Hubbard into another. And
where I am.
and where you are into the District F, that does not work, right? And it would be hard, I think, to build. I'm
not asking to hash out what should happen with Forest Park right now. I would just know that that's an example where there was a request to have a conversation and we didn't have it, and that's fine. And I've had conversations offline, but I'm curious if we've, because none of the aldermen who were affected by those comments were contacted. I'm just curious if we have been looking at comments since Ward 5, since map version 5 was put out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. I want to be able to let our constituents know that when we asked them to show up at a hearing on last Saturday and ask them to submit comments, that we just didn't take a break for 5 days and then show them the same thing we had before. That's
I wish I could have taken a break. It's been back to back for all of us, and it's been a long, hard road. So
and Alderwoman, the comments have been reviewed, and I guess unless we don't reach out, because what's been happening is, as you well know, if you make one change and we see if it works or doesn't work, then we get in time, if there's going to be a change made, we have to contact the other people who that change is going to affect. We couldn't see trying to make it work, within the parameters was it. So
I understand. I'm not looking to hash that out here. I just wanted to ask questions. As an attorney looked at it, and has anybody reviewed the comments that have come in since version 5? Those are my 2 questions. And I think
the comments,
yes and yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So with that, Alderwoman, does that complete your Alderwoman Navarro? Okay. Thank you very much. Alderwoman Martin.
I too echo the issue with not giving this proper attention from an attorney, really giving very little time. And it's not my preference to vote before we have some sort of legal opinion or analysis. So with that, thank you.
Okay. We are, giving a final thing is what we did with the city councilor's office. They have the information. Until we had that, if something was going to change, we thought it'd be best just to make sure that we gave them what they would be looking at. We have the ability to, they have it in their possession. We have the ability to reach for outside within our rules to pay for an independent legal analysis up to $5,000 without an RFP. If we deem that necessary, we will. We are going to try and get this out today for second reading tomorrow. I believe there is a time frame, if I'm correct, Mr. President, Wednesday we have moved the meeting. Is that correct, sir? If I saw that?
Yes.
I thought I saw an email to that effect. We had a meeting scheduled for Wednesday, but I believe in the.
Yeah, we have one scheduled for tomorrow. We do not have one scheduled for Wednesday.
I'm just looking at the emails. It was canceled. We did have one there. You know, in the interest of many things, to also give the legal counsel time to look at it, and also to let everybody maybe get a holiday, especially the staff, who we've been overworking greatly. So I see we have Alderman Coder has a hand up.
Yeah, sorry, along these lines, I guess, so if the city council is looking at this, have they given us sort of a general timeline of when we think we'll have an answer back from them if we think we have any issues?
Yeah, we'll have an answer back before our next hearing, before the perfection hearing. So they'll probably get something back Friday, if not Friday, Monday for us.
Okay, just so I'm clear on the timing here, assuming we pass this out of committee today, we're going to second read tomorrow, but then wait till perfect until after the holiday, after the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Last question. I know we've had some discussions offline about ward numbers. When did maybe I missed this earlier, but
well, we've been, I can answer that. I've been working on that with people. It is looking at how the wards are done and how the numbers run. What we want to make sure we do is to maybe remove all the politics from this. Is to start. It would look like it's starting with a random, whether it be a coin toss or pulling something out of a hat. Starting with the letter N to the south and working, if that would be even or odd, then working your way. What that does is eliminate the chance of any sitting alderman to have an existing number next to their. So, you know, you don't want, if there's a chance that you could have a 7 next to your name, that will give you an advantage over anyone else running in your ward. If someone, so 1 through 14, because we have, again, 14 numbers that will not be used. So I think it's done because I want to have all the caveats in there in case any alderman has a chance of getting the same number. We're trying to eliminate that occurrence so that there's no chance that any sitting alderman would have the same ward number that they have now, which would be an unfair advantage. I know it'd be if you have old signs, it would save you some money for signage, but it's just a matter of trying to make sure that we have Go ahead. You're breaking up.
Sorry, Chairman. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Sort of doing it randomly, whether it's a coin toss, odd even, or pulling them. When in the process will we do that?
Well, we can do it anytime. I guess we could do it on the floor before, but I actually would like to make it a very, very public thing. The president and I have discussed this, actually making I don't want to sit here in this office and do it by myself. We probably meet at City Hall and somewhere and make sure we have camera crews there from anywhere that wants to come and do it and get a complete third person who has no involvement with the board whatsoever to do the picking or the tossing of the coin. So there is none of us involved in handling any of it once the rules are laid out.
And then the other thing is,
Chairman, I couldn't agree.
You're
Go
breaking
ahead,
up there.
No, other thing I was going to say, that'll all happen before the perfection phase. So
Yes.
so when we make amendments, it'll be that the ward numbers, anything that the city councilor comes back with, all of that stuff will be in a package of amendments that we make to the bill before we perfect it.
Thank you, because that's sort of what I was getting at is, adding the numbers in itself is going to take amendments. So, that might get a little cumbersome on the floor. But all right, I agree wholeheartedly that the signing numbers should be done openly and publicly. This committee's done a pretty good job thus far of keeping this, taking public input seriously. And I don't want to screw this up now with, backroom dealing on assigning odds open and then no one can complain about it. Thank you, everybody.
No, well, everybody figure out your favorite TV reporter and we'll have a roll, see who, maybe they can do the coin toss. All right, I saw him, Alderman Boyd, you had your hand up, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Can you tell me if the map that was presented is in the Google Drive? Because I can't find it.
The description, the text version is, it should be in there. Does it not, Mr. President? I've been using.
Yeah, the text description is in there, and the actual printouts and stuff, we're gonna do right after the meeting, you know, so that we can get those printed. But the PDF file, we'll email everybody a PDF file also along with these descriptions. So you have a copy of the PDF files, the stuff we normally put out, and then other things will be loaded on the web also once it's finalized.
I'm not comfortable voting on this today, and I can't match the map with the description. I don't
Okay.
think that's fair.
All right.
All right, I see any other hands up? I believe all hands are been answered. All right, sorry, it takes me a moment, I'm working from my iPad. All right, I believe, is there anything you'd like to finalize before we go back to entertaining a motion and a second, Mr. President?
No, I think that's it.
All right,
And I
with
will
that,
make,
I will entertain a motion to,
I'll make the motion. We pass moving board bill 101, passport bill 101 as amended out of committee
with a due pass recommendation.
with a new pass recommendation.
All right, entertain a second.
Second.
Seconded by the 21st.
Alderman from the 21st. All right, Sarita, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd,
No,
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg, Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Jane,
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Chairman Balmer,
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
9 aye votes, 1 no vote, 1 voting present, and 1 abstain.
Thank you. With your vote, we have adopted and moving out Board Bill 101 as amended with a due pass recommendation to send to the full board. With that, I thank everyone for their time, efforts. I believe we had our first meeting September 28th. Here we are on November 22nd and going to the full board tomorrow. So with that, I thank everyone once again for all your time and efforts. And with that, I will excuse any absent alderman for necessary absence and entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion. We adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 All right,
Aye.
the ayes have it. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow for full board. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all so much.